American homeowners spend an estimated $1.2 billion every spring on container plants, and nearly half of them are dead by July. Not because of neglect, because every nursery, every garden center, and every gardening video online keeps selling and showing full sun plants to people with shaded porches. If you are in your 50s or 60s and you have watched pot after pot fail on your north-facing deck or covered patio, that is not your fault. That is a gap nobody filled. Until now, today we are covering 10 shade-loving lazy perennials that come back every single year, thrive in pots all summer with zero sun and near zero maintenance. And one plant on this list produces flowers so unusual that visitors will think you grew a tropical orchid outdoors. Stay with me. Welcome to Natural Verge, where ancient plant wisdom meets practical modern living. Today we are breaking down 12 shade-loving lazy perennials that thrive in pots all summer. Later in this video, we reveal the one plant on this list that blooms like an exotic orchid in the deepest shade. In September, when every other pot on your porch has already quit, subscribe now. This knowledge is free, always. Here is the mistake most Americans make with shade containers. They buy impatiens, begonias, or caladiums every single spring, spending $40 to $80 per season on plants that die with the first frost and never return. The smarter angle is perennials. Plants you buy once, pot once, and watch return fuller and more beautiful every single year with no replanting cost. In zones 3 through 9, which covers nearly every American homeowner watching this, there are shade-tolerant perennials that outperform any annual you have ever tried in a low-light space. The first value punch is this. A single $14 perennial rhizome planted this spring is worth $140 over 10 years of no replant savings. That math changes how you shop. If you have a north-facing porch, a covered deck, or a spot under a tree where nothing ever survives, this list was built specifically for you. Drop your state in the comments right now. Your zone changes which of these performs best. Most Americans walk past Solomon's seal at the nursery without a second look. And that single decision cost them years of the easiest, most rewarding shade container they will ever grow. Polygonidum, the botanical name, is a rhizome-based perennial that grows in deep shade where almost nothing else will establish. Horticulturalists consistently rank it among the top 5 most underused shade perennials in American container gardening. It is hardy from zone 3 through zone 9, meaning it survives Minnesota winters and Gulf Coast summers with equal calm. One 4-inch pot costs $10 to $15. That same rhizome will multiply and fill a wide container within 2 seasons, eliminating any replanting cost for the next decade. 2 varieties worth knowing: Polygonum odoratum variegatum, cream-edged foliage that glows in dark corners, and the native Polygonidum biflorum for cold northern zones. Both are completely deer-resistant, and here is what nobody tells you. The rhizomes have documented edible history in Native American and European ancestral food traditions after proper cooking preparation. That detail comes back later. A man in his late 60s in Zone 5, Ohio, had a north-facing covered porch with 6 large pots. Every May for 12 years, he spent between $80 and $120 replacing annuals that never made it past August. A neighbor quietly mentioned Solomon's seal. He planted 3 rhizomes in a wide pot in spring of 2021. 4 years later, that same pot is fuller, taller, and more striking than anything he ever bought from a nursery. And he has never watered it beyond natural rainfall, never fertilized it, never touched it. That is not luck. That is the right plant in the right place. The one mistake most Americans make with Solomon's seal and pots is choosing a container that is too small and too shallow. Rhizomes need horizontal spread, not depth. A wide, shallow container outperforms a tall, narrow one every single time. Get that right once, and this plant genuinely maintains itself. And if you think Solomon's seal is the most surprising plant on this list, wait until we reach the one that blooms like an orchid in late September. This is the plant teased in the intro, and the payoff is worth every second of the wait. Most Americans have never heard of Tricetus, commonly called toad lily, and that is one of the most expensive oversights in shade container gardening. While every other plant on your porch is finished and fading by late August, toad lily opens its flowers in September and October, spotted, star-shaped blooms that look so precisely like exotic orchids that visitors genuinely ask what tropical species you are growing. The answer is a cold-hardy perennial that survives Zone 4 through Zone 9 winters without a single degree of protection. One plant costs $12 to $18. Plant it once in a deep shaded pot and it returns every year, blooming later and more heavily each season as the clump matures. Plant scientists have observed that Tricetus actually performs better in container culture than in open ground because the restricted root zone concentrates bloom energy. Two varieties to know: Tricetus hirta, the classic spotted white and purple, and Tricetus formosana autumn glow for deeper purple tones in zones 6 through 8. The one mistake: planting it in anything brighter than dappled shade. Direct sun scorches the foliage and ends the bloom entirely. Here is the real stakes of missing toad lily. The average American homeowner with a shaded porch has zero color from September onward. Every pot is green at best, bare at worst. That is 4 to 6 weeks of dead visual space on a porch you spent money improving. One toad lily pot eliminates that entirely, and it does it on zero intervention, no deadheading, no fertilizing, no cutting back until late winter. It is genuinely the laziest late-season performer in shade container gardening, and most American gardeners have never even seen it at their local nursery. That is not because it is rare. It is because most nurseries stock for impulse spring buyers, not for the serious long-term gardener. That growing group of Americans who have quietly moved away from repeat purchase annuals already know this plant. And here is something worth a screenshot. Toad lily increases its bloom count year over year as the rhizome expands. Year 1, you get clusters. Year 3, you get a cascade. Zero additional cost. The next plant is the complete opposite in look. Soft silver leaves that glow in dark corners like quiet moonlight. And it is one of the most forgiving dry shade performers ever documented. Most people who try silver foliage plants in shade watch the pattern fade to plain green by midsummer and blame themselves. The real problem is they chose the wrong plant. Brunnera macrophylla, Jack Frost, does not fade. Its silver heart-shaped leaves hold their full metallic pattern from the moment they emerge in spring until the first hard frost, a documented characteristic that separates it from virtually every other variegated shade plant available. It is hardy from Zone 3 through Zone 8, making it one of the most cold-tolerant decorative shade perennials for container gardening in northern states. A single plant costs $12 to $16 and returns every year with a slightly wider, fuller clump. In dry shade, the hardest growing condition in American container gardening, Brunnera performs when almost nothing else does. Traditional growing practice backed by modern understanding confirms its drought tolerance is rooted in its deep tap rhizome system. In addition to the silver foliage, it produces small forget-me-not blue flowers in early spring that extend its visual season to nearly 10 months. The one mistake: overwatering. Brunnera in a pot needs far less water than most gardeners assume. Let it dry between waterings, and it rewards you all summer. Most Americans treat Lychnis silene as a full sun plant and never try it in shade. And that assumption costs them one of the most effortless, self-sustaining color performers available for low-light containers. Lychnis coronaria, commonly known as rose campion, produces vivid magenta blooms on silver woolly stems and genuinely thrives in partial to dappled shade in zones 4 through 8. A single plant costs $8 to $12. But here is the part nobody tells you. It self-seeds freely into neighboring pots and garden edges, meaning one purchase quietly becomes 5 plants over 2 seasons with zero additional cost. Traditional growing practice, backed by modern understanding, confirms its low water requirement is exceptional. It evolved in poor, dry Mediterranean soils and carries that drought intelligence into every American garden it enters. In the South and Mid-Atlantic, where summer humidity is high and shade containers dry slowly, Lychnis is one of the safest low-intervention choices available. The one mistake most gardeners make: deadheading aggressively. Leave the seed heads in place. That is where the second generation comes from. Cut too clean and you eliminate the entire self-seeding system. And if self-seeding is something you want more of in your shade containers, the next plant takes that ability and multiplies it across an entire season of bloom. Here is a question most shade gardeners cannot answer. Which perennial blooms continuously from spring all the way through fall in deep shade, self-seeds into every nearby crack and container, requires almost no water, and costs under $14? The answer is Corydalis. And the fact that most American gardeners have never grown it is one of the clearest signs that the shade container gap is real. Corydalis produces delicate, ferny foliage and tubular flowers in a season-spanning display that most flowering perennials cannot match. It is reliably hardy in zones 5 through 7 and performs exceptionally well in the Pacific Northwest, Northeast, and Upper Midwest, where summers stay cooler. A single $10 to $14 plant self-seeds, freely expanding your container collection at zero additional cost. 2 varieties to know: Corydalis lutea for golden yellow blooms, and Corydalis flexosa, blue panda, for cool blue tones that are genuinely unusual in the shade plant world. Horticulturalists recommend blue panda specifically for deep shade containers where blue color is nearly impossible to find in summer. The one mistake: growing it in a container with poor drainage. Corydalis roots rot fast in standing water. Add perlite to your potting mix, and drainage becomes a non-issue. The next plant takes a completely different approach. Evergreen structure that performs in winter when every other container on this list is dormant. You are now 5 plants into a list of 12, and every single one of them costs under $25, returns every year, and requires near zero maintenance and shade. But here is what is still coming. We have not yet covered the evergreen on this list that produces edible blueberries with documented ancestral foraging use, or the Native American shade plant with a history in traditional medicine, so documented it earned a formal research record. Those are still ahead, and we have not yet covered the one on this list that blooms in the darkest shade with the most architectural height you have ever seen in a container. If you are watching and not yet subscribed, here is what that actually means. YouTube will stop placing this content in your feed, not slow it down, stop it entirely. Natural Verge releases plant and natural living knowledge every single week, built specifically for American viewers who want real results from real plants, not generic advice recycled from the same 5 sources. Hit subscribe right now, it is free, and it always will be. The second half of this list starts with a plant that stays green and structured through every month of the year, including January. Most Americans think of shade containers as a warm season project, and that assumption empties their porches by October. Mahonia Oregon Grape is the correction. It is a fully evergreen shrub-like perennial that holds bold, holly-textured foliage through every month of the year, produces bright yellow flowers in late winter when nothing else is blooming, January through March in zones 5 through 9, and then follows those flowers with clusters of deep blue-purple berries in spring. A single Mahonia plant costs $15 to $25 and provides year-round structure that no annual can match at any price. It performs particularly well in the Pacific Northwest and Mid-Atlantic regions, where shade and moisture combine, but it handles drier shade in the South and Midwest with minimal supplemental water once established. Herbalists and naturopathic practitioners commonly note Mahonia's traditional medicinal use for its berberine-containing roots and bark, documented across multiple herbal traditions. The spring berries carry a documented ancestral foraging history, tart and high in antioxidants, used in traditional jams and beverages. The one mistake, planting Mahonia in a container too small to allow root spread, It needs a large, heavy pot, minimum 15 gallons, to winter successfully above ground in northern zones. The single most common visual problem in shade containers is that everything grows low and flat, and the space looks unfinished no matter how many plants you add. Thalictrum, commonly called meadow rue, solves that problem permanently. It is an architectural shade perennial that grows 3 to 6 feet tall in a container, producing airy lavender purple flower clusters that float above every other plant on your porch, like a soft botanical chandelier. It is reliably hardy from zone 4 through zone 9 and tolerates dry shade with a composure that surprises even experienced shade gardeners. A single plant costs $12 to $18, and in zones 6 through 8 across the South and Mid-Atlantic, it returns each spring with greater height and wider spread than the season before. Plant scientists have observed that Thalictrum in container culture produces more concentrated bloom than in open ground because root restriction focuses the plant's energy upward. 2 varieties to prioritize: Thalictrum rochebrunnianum for the tallest, most dramatic effect, and Thalictrum delavi Hewitt's double for fully double lavender blooms with exceptional staying power. The one mistake most gardeners make: placing it in a lightweight container. Thalictrum's height creates wind leverage. A heavy ceramic or stone pot prevents tipping in summer storms. The next plant brings this list into its deepest ancestral territory. Most Americans who grow shade perennials stop at the decorative. They never reach the plants with documented ancestral significance. And Actaea racemosa, commonly known as black cohosh, is the clearest example of what that gap costs them. This is a bold, Native American shade perennial that grows 4 to 6 feet tall, producing dramatic white bottlebrush flower spikes that rise above the darkest container planting you have ever attempted. It is reliably hardy from zone 3 through zone 8, performing exceptionally well across the Northeast, Upper Midwest, and Appalachian regions where it naturally colonizes forest understories. A single plant costs $14 to $20 and returns each year with greater mass and more flower spikes than the season before. But here is the ancestral layer that separates this plant from everything else on this list. Black cohosh roots have been documented extensively in Native American traditional medicine, used by multiple tribal traditions across centuries, and studied formally by modern researchers interested in its documented compounds. Horticulturalists classify it as one of the most underused shade perennials in American container gardening. And there is one important identification fact about this plant, a fact that the next block covers completely, because getting it right matters. Here is the identification fact that matters. The Actaea genus includes a variety called baneberry, Actaea rubra, which produces bright red berries that are toxic and dangerous, particularly to children and pets. That is a real risk, and it deserves a direct, clear answer. Black cohosh, Actaea racemosa, is immediately distinguishable by 2 characteristics. First, its berries are black, not red. Second, its flower spikes are significantly taller and more dramatic than any baneberry variety. When purchasing, always confirm the full botanical name on the label, Actaea racemosa. If the label says Actaea rubra or shows red berries in the photo, that is not the plant for this list. Buy from a reputable nursery, confirm the name, and you have zero confusion. This single act of identification takes 30 seconds and eliminates the entire risk. That is the honest limitation of this genus. And naming it directly is more useful than pretending it does not exist. The correct plant, properly identified, is one of the most rewarding, low-maintenance shade performers you will ever put in a container. The one mistake most gardeners make with black cohosh in pots is undersizing the container. It needs a minimum 20-gallon pot to develop the root mass that supports its full height. Get the pot right, and it handles the rest. The assumption most gardeners carry into shade container planning is that bold, long-lasting bloom is impossible without sun. Persicaria plexicalis, commonly called mountain fleece, disproves that assumption from June through October. It produces dense, deep pink to crimson bottle brush flower spikes, continuously for 4 to 5 months, in partial to full shade, longer than almost any other perennial on this list. It is hardy from Zone 4 through Zone 9 and performs with particular strength in the Pacific Northwest, Northeast, and Upper Midwest, where consistent summer moisture and cool nights extend its already long bloom season. A single plant costs $10 to $14. Within 2 seasons in a large container, it forms a self-sustaining clump that requires 0 division, 0 staking, and 0 deadheading to maintain continuous bloom. Traditional growing practice, backed by modern understanding, confirms its vigorous rhizome system as the source of its self-maintaining behavior. It essentially manages its own energy cycle without human input. 2 varieties to know. Persicaria amplexicalis firetail for the deepest crimson tones, and alba for a clean white form that pairs exceptionally well with Solomon's seal in mixed shade containers. The one mistake, planting it in a container under 15 gallons. Persicaria roots spread fast. Restrict them and you cut the bloom season in half. Most people who grow Jacob's Ladder grow the plain green form and miss the version that genuinely glows in dark corners like something lit from within. Polemonium caeruleum, particularly the variegated form Brise d'Anjou, has cream-edged, ladder-like leaflets that reflect available light in deep shade and make a container look illuminated without a single artificial element. It is hardy from Zone 3 through Zone 8, making it one of the most cold-tolerant, decorative shade performers for Northern American homeowners who have almost no options in extreme cold zones. A single plant costs $10 to $14 and returns each spring with greater spread and more flower stems than the previous season. It produces soft blue to lavender flowers in spring, and horticulturalists note that in cool summer climates across the Pacific Northwest and Upper Midwest, it often reblooms lightly in early fall with minimal encouragement. The reframe here is worth noting. Most people walk past Jacob's Ladder at the nursery and see an ordinary fern-like plant. What they are actually passing is one of the most light-efficient shade performers available. A plant that does more visual work per dollar than almost anything on this list. The one mistake, placing it in afternoon heat. Polemonium is a cool season performer. Morning light and afternoon shade is its ideal condition in Zone 6 and above. Before the final block, which includes 3 overlooked bonus facts most shade gardening guides never mention, and a complete zone-by-zone decision framework built specifically for your situation. This is the right moment for something direct. This channel exists for Americans who have spent enough seasons making expensive planting mistakes they were never warned about. If that is you, and if you are in your 50s or 60s and you have invested real money in pots that never delivered, Natural Verge was built specifically for your experience level and your actual life. Not for beginners learning what a perennial is, for people who already know what they are doing and deserve information that respects that. Every week, a new video, zone-aware, research-grounded, experience-based, built for American homeowners who want plants that actually perform. Subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell. The next video is already being prepared. And if you know someone, a neighbor, a friend, a family member, who is still spending $80 to $120 every spring, replacing annuals that die in shade, send them this video right now. That single act saves them real money this season. We are not ending here. You can choose every plant on this list correctly and still miss the 3 things that separate a good shade container garden from one that performs flawlessly across every season with 0 intervention. First, Tricertus toad lily blooms September through October, specifically when every other shade container on your porch is finished. That is not a minor detail. That is a 4 to 6 week color gap that most American homeowners have accepted as inevitable. It is not. One toad lily pot eliminates it permanently. Second, Mahonia Oregon Grape produces edible blue-purple berries every spring. Those berries carry a documented ancestral foraging history. Used traditionally in jams, beverages, and is a natural astringent food source. Most homeowners grow Mahonia for structure and never realize they are also growing a productive spring food plant. Third, Brunnera Jack Frost holds its full silver variegation pattern all summer without fading. That is exceptional. Most variegated plants revert to plain green under heat stress by midsummer. Brunnera does not. Its pattern is stable, season-long, and documented as one of the most consistent variegated performers in shade horticulture. 3 facts. 3 plants, 0 additional cost. All already on your list if you follow the decision framework that comes next. Here is your exact starting point based on your zone, budget, and experience level. If you are in zones 3, 4, or 5, the coldest American growing regions, and your budget is under $35, start with Polygonum Solomon's Seal, Brunnera Jack Frost, and Polemonium Jacob's Ladder. All 3 are extreme cold survivors. All 3 thrive in deep shade containers, and all 3 require 0 intervention once established. That combination covers foliage interest, silver glow, and spring bloom for under $40. If you are in zones 6, 7, or 8, across the South Mid-Atlantic and Pacific Northwest, add Tricertus toad lily and Thalictrum meadow rue to that foundation. Toad lily gives you late-season orchid bloom through October. Thalictrum gives you architectural height that transforms a flat container arrangement into a layered statement. If you have been gardening in shade for years and want year-round structure with ancestral depth, anchor your container collection with Mahonia Oregon Grape as the evergreen backbone. Add Actaea Black Cohosh for bold summer height, and build Persicaria Mountain Fleece around both for months of continuous pink bloom. That combination performs across every season, requires minimal water, and costs under $60 to establish. Your zone is the starting point. Your budget is the filter. Your experience determines how far you push the combination. Every shaded porch, every north-facing deck, every spot under a tree where something keeps dying, those are not problem spaces. They are simply spaces that have been given the wrong plants. The 12 perennials in this video were chosen because they do not ask for sun, you do not have, maintenance time you cannot give, or replanting budgets you should not have to spend every spring. They ask for one good pot, one correct placement, and the patience to let a living system establish itself. And then they deliver, season after season, year after year, without asking for anything more. That is not a gardening trick. That is the way plants actually work when you work with them instead of against them. A shaded porch full of thriving, returning perennials is not an accident that happens to other people. It is a decision made once with the right information that pays you back every single growing season for the rest of your time in that home. You now have that information. The only thing left is the decision. And here is the truth that belongs on a screenshot. The most expensive plant you will ever buy is the one you have to replace every year. Buy it once. Buy it right. Let it return. If this video gave you one plant you had never considered before, hit the like button right now. That single action tells YouTube this information is worth sharing, and it helps Natural Verge reach the American homeowners who need it most. Drop your state and your USDA zone in the comments below and tell us which plant on this list you are starting with. Whether it is Solomon's Seal for your north-facing porch, Toad Lily for late-season color, or Mahonia for year-round structure, your comment helps every other viewer watching from the same zone make a smarter choice. Think of one person in your life who is still spending money every spring on annuals that fail in shade. A neighbor, a family member, a friend with a covered porch, and empty pots. Send them this video right now. That costs you nothing and saves them real money this season. You just received zone-accurate, dollar-grounded, research-based information that most channels never put in one place. That is what every Natural Verge video delivers. Subscribe now and turn on the bell. Every single week, new content, zone-aware, experience-based, built for your actual life. The next one is already coming, and it belongs in your feed. You just received zone-accurate, dollar-grounded, research-based information that most channels never put in one place. 12 shade-loving lazy perennials, a complete zone-by-zone decision framework, 3 overlooked bonus facts, and honest identification guidance that protects your family and your investment. That is what every Natural Verge video delivers. Subscribe now and turn on the bell. The next one is already coming, Natural Verge. Every week, plant knowledge built for American homeowners who want real results, real savings, and real beauty in every season their garden grows.